Colombian parliamentary group Autodefensas Conquistadores de la Sierra asked President Gustavo Petro to arrange a meeting with the Venezuelan government. In France, polls closed in Sunday's parliamentary elections. So far, authorities reported a turnout of 67.10%. Palestinian-Israeli occupation forces killed at least 55 Palestinians in 3 massacres during the last 24 hours. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the Telesur studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Colombian paramilitary group Autodefensas Conquistadores de la Sierra asked President Gustavo Petro to arrange a contact with the government of Venezuela to give details about the plans of the far right of that country against social peace. The armed group declared that they were aware of the Venezuelan president's statement and have the moral obligation to deliver the information it deems necessary. Likewise, the paramilitary group added that the Venezuelan far right sought its influence to alter the democratic system and generate violence in Venezuela. They also reaffirmed that the construction of peace is the only way to achieve the desire for prosperity and tranquility of the communities. Through a statement on the social media X, the armed group respectfully requested President Gustavo Petro to adopt the pertinent measures so that the Venezuelan authorities can have a direct dialogue with their organization to provide them with information and thus initiate their respective judicial proceedings. In that sense, they reiterated in the missive that this act of peace originates in the respect for the electoral processes and democracy in Venezuela so that a real peace can be built and violence can be stopped for the good of the people they protect and that of their neighbors, who also have the right to self-determination. The Autodefensas Conquistadoras de Sierra Nevada is a Colombian paramilitary structure that maintains territorial control in Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta in the department of Magdalena and other nearby areas. In a historical context, the criminal diaspora is a result of the demobilization of the United Self-Defense Forces of Colombia. This group runs drug trafficking and extortion networks in tourist areas. The ASCN operate autonomously in their logistical activities and in some cases have established alliances with criminal organizations to guarantee control over areas of route and transport of illicit substances to countries such as the United States and Europe. Recently, there have been cases of capture and participation of ASCN members demonstrating their continued involvement in illegal economies. However, in recent times, the organization has shown a willingness to negotiate with the Colombian government, declaring a unilateral ceasefire in the hope of installing dialogues. In El Salvador, doctors are complaining about hospitals collapsing due to the large number of reported dengue cases. Doctors affiliated to the Dr. Salvadorian movement say hospitals do not have enough beds to admit all dengue patients. They say that what officials from the health ministry are saying about hospitals not being overcrowded is not based on reality. Doctors also complain about being overworked before they are being forced to work overtime, something for which they are not being compensated. And in Argentina, adjustments continue in the science and technology sector, which reports a drop of up to 30.4% with respect to the year 2023. According to a report by experts in budgetary matters, during the first half of the year, the real execution of the science and technology function decreased in an accelerated manner, consolidating itself as the most abrupt setback with respect to the measurements made since 1972. Likewise, the salaries of the sector's workers have experienced a real decrease of up to 26.3% for the employees of the National Council for Scientific and Technical Research. Similarly, cuts of almost 95% were registered in the Secretariat of Innovation, Science and Technology, and up to 85.6% in university budgets. On Sunday in Cuba, the forces of the Ministry of the Interior announced they dismantled a terrorist plot against Cuba organized and financed by the United States. In this sense, Cuban authorities highlighted as a result of the investigation carried out by the Ministry of the Interior, the Cuban citizen Ardenis Garcia Alvarez, the main executor of those actions planned in the territory of the United States, who had illegally immigrated to that country since 2014, was arrested, as well as other involved persons residing in the national territory after entering Cuba illegally by sea and bringing with them firearms and ammunition. Besides, the intervention of the forces of the Ministry of the Interior have broken up a new terrorist plot against Cuba, organized and financed by the U.S. Let's now take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at Telesur English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. For the stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. In Venezuela, thousands in Yaracuy state welcomed Saturday the presidential candidate for the Great Patriotic Poll, Nicolás Maduro, as part of his electoral campaign. The people of Yaritagua joyfully received the presidential candidate, Nicolás Maduro, and expressed their support for the July 28th elections. During his visit, the candidate of the Great Patriotic Poll reaffirmed his confidence in the Venezuelan people to defeat the actions of the far-right and imperialism against national stability. Maduro also reiterated that his governmental administration made the necessary changes to recover the Venezuelan economy. In this sense, Nicolás Maduro called for unity ahead of the coming elections.
On July 28, we have an appointment with history. On July 28, the battle is between those of us who love Venezuela and those who have imposed sanctions and hate Venezuela. The battle is between those who want peace and those who carried out the guarimba and burned people alive. The battle is between all Venezuelans and the puppets of the U.S. empire. Who is going to win that battle? That battle will be won by the people united and from Yaritagua. We are going to tell them, listen oligarchs, listen closely. The people united will never be defeated.
Meanwhile, in France, polls closed in Sunday's parliamentary elections with a turnout of more than 60%. The second round of parliamentary elections was called for more than 49 million citizens to participate. French citizens choose in these elections 501 of the 577 seats that make up the country's National Assembly. During the first round, 76 deputies were elected, 39 of them representatives of the far-right party National Rally. Official results of the elections are still pending. In France, traders prepare for possible riots after the second round of parliamentary elections. This comes as images from Paris last night showed dozens of popular high street stores barricaded behind wooden boards and shutters amid growing fears of left-wing riots exploding on the streets after rioting began engulfing the city last week. Several central areas within Paris are concerned with the possibility of protests erupting, including the Rivoli, the Opera area, and the Champs-Élysées. In Iran on Sunday, the leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei, met with President-elect Masoud Pezeshkian. The Ayatollah congratulated the newly elected president for his runoff victory and expressed great satisfaction over the high turnout for the elections. The Ayatollah said to be hopeful about the newly elected president being able to use the potential and capacity of the people and the country to guarantee progress and prosperity. The Ayatollah also congratulated candidate Said Jalili, with whom he held a separate meeting. Let's review the profile of Masoud Pezeshkian, born in 1954. He has a PhD in medicine and general surgery from Tabriz University. He was appointed health minister from 2001 to 2005. during former President Khatami's term. From 2016 to 2020, he served as first Deputy Speaker of Parliament. He has previously run for the elections in 2013 and 2021. In 2013, he resigned in favor of Ayatollah Ali Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani, while in 2021, the Guardian Council didn't pass him as candidate. The president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, congratulated the newly elected Iranian president. On social media X, President Maduro offered congratulations to the new Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and the people of the Islamic Republic of Iran for the extraordinary democratic day. The head of state assured that Iran can count on Venezuela to continue strengthening the relations of brotherhood, friendship, and cooperation between our countries. In Bangladesh, authorities reported Saturday that the death toll from floods this week rose to 8, leaving more than 2 million affected after heavy rains caused major rivers to burst their banks. The government informed it opened hundreds of shelters for people displaced by the waters and sent food and relief to hard-hit districts in the country's north region. Disaster Management Ministry Secretary Kamrul Hassan said 17 of the country's 64 districts have been affected. The South Asian nation of 170 million people has seen more frequent floods in recent years. Climate change has made rainfall more erratic and melting glaciers upstream in the Himalayan mountains.
Around 23,000 people took shelter in 3,000 shelter centers, and around 2 million people have been directly affected by the flood in 19 districts of the country. Now the flood situation is improving, and the flood water is receding in some places, but it can inundate the lower land more, because this water comes from the Himalayas in Nepal, through India, and falls to the Bay of Bengal.
We have a fun short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. It comes a news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Fun short break, don't go away. Welcome back. Palestinian Israeli occupation forces killed at least 55 Palestinians in 3 massacres in the last 24 hours. The Ministry of Health reported that these actions left 123 wounded. Authorities also warned that many of the victims remain under the rubble of the infrastructures damaged by the bombardment, so there is a possibility that both figures could be even higher. According to the most recent health report, 38,153 Palestinians have been killed and another 87,828 have been wounded since October 2023, when the Israeli war against the Gaza Strip began. Occupation forces continue to bombard various areas in the occupied Palestinian territories. Recently, Palestinian authorities reported shelling in the city of Rafah, south of the Gaza Strip, resulting in the documented death of at least 3 Palestinians in the Shabura refugee camp located in the center of the city. The bodies were later transported to the Nasser medical complex in Han Yunis, and again, according to medical sources, the actual death toll could be even higher. Also in Israel, marking the 9th month since the start of the genocidal war on the Gaza Strip, settlers took to the streets expressing rejection of the policies of the government of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Demonstrators blocked major roads and gathered in front of the homes of members of Israeli parliament. They demanded the resignation of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and called for a ceasefire to enable the return of the hostages still being held by Hamas militants. Demonstrators also called on international mediators to step up their efforts to reach an agreement, while stressing the urgency of finding a way for the region to live in peace rather than in an endless war. In other news, in Niger, the heads of states of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore of Mali, Hassimi Goïta, and the host Abdurrahmane Chiani signed the treaty creating the Confederation of Sahel States. The historic agreement took place within the framework of the first summit of the Alliance of Sahel States, and according to the signatories, it is a decisive step towards a long-delayed dream for their peoples, the creation of the Sahelian Federation, that will allow the promotion, cooperation, and integration of the countries of the area in fundamental issues such as security, development, economy, and fight against terrorism. Its promoters assure that it is urgent for Africa to distance itself from foreign powers and extend this goal to the community of West African States, ECOWAS.
The summit itself is historic because it is the first summit of the Alliance of Sahel States. Obviously, we expect to launch the foundation of the alliance, and we expect important decisions such as the process of creating a common currency, the redeployment of our forces, a single military command for our troops to fight terrorism in the military border zone.
Also in Niger, the government has revoked a uranium exploration permit granted to Canadian company govt Uranium. Mining company executive announced that the permit withdrawal for the Maduela area does not comply with the provisions of the current mining code, and they warned that the decision will have a negative impact for the local economy. Company executive recalled that since the start of operations in Niger in 2007, they have completed an unprecedented drilling campaign of 650,000 meters. For Nigerians themselves, the project meant the creation of up to 800 jobs over the foreseeable 20-year lifespan of the mine, with significant royalties and taxes accruing to the state. UEFA Euro 2024 is in its final stages after the quarterfinal round concluded on Saturday. In this way, Spain defeated Germany in an agonizing manner in what fans and experts highlight as an anticipated final of what had been the two best teams of the competition. On the other hand, France defeated Portugal on penalties after a goalless match, and also in penalties advanced England to the semifinals, tying 1-1 with Switzerland in 90 minutes, and meanwhile the Netherlands defeated Turkey 2-1 in the quarterfinals. In this context, the semifinals are thus defined between the games of Spain versus France and England versus Netherlands.
It's going to be a semi-final to take seriously. I think they're one of the best teams in this competition and they play great football. But then it's a game we're used to playing. We like big games. I think we'll be ready for Tuesday. It is much more valuable to have a great team, to be better as a team than to have stars. And I think we are showing that. Maybe we don't have those top names or those superstars. But I think as a team we are very good. We play good football and so far we are doing very well.
Meanwhile, the semifinals of the 2024 Copa America have been confirmed as favorites Argentina, Colombia, and Uruguay, as well as Canada, are still in competition. In this way, in the semifinals round, Lionel Messi's Argentina facing Canada will be defending the title that they won for the 15th time in Brazil in 2021, while Uruguayan team will meet Colombia on the part of Uruguay. It must be stressed that its 16th trophy of this event in 45 appearances, as Colombia has shown for many the best in the current tournament, led by former Real Madrid James Rodriguez. On the other hand, Canada, who will host the next FIFA World Cup, is without a doubt the revelation team, as it has advanced to the semifinals in its first ever participation.
And I think now on the back of two really strong performances, we have an incredible task at in a semifinal to play against the best team in the world. So we're excited, but you know, again, I said this before, we're excited but not satisfied.
Ladies, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. So join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.